Live Talk with Benita Bradley.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Talk with Benita Bradley. I am your host, Benita Bradley, and I hope you all had a wonderful day today. We have a special guest today with us, but before we get to our guest, let me just welcome everybody in as we normally do. Good evening, Instagram. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Good evening, Facebook. Good evening, YouTube, and good evening to Periscope Twitter. We hope you all have enjoyed your weekend. I don't know if you're enjoying this weather so much because it keeps vacillating up and down, but do the best you can. All right. All right. So this evening we have a really special guest. I think this is my first time having a best-selling author on my show. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm going to let her take just a few minutes to introduce herself to the guests. Tonight we have with us, and I'm going to try to say her name right, Pastor Shandia Smith Little. Did I say it right?
Shandia, but you did well, though, consider it.
Shandia, okay. All right, Pastor, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get right into our interview.
Okay, hi, I am Shandia Smith Little. I am the wife of a pastor, and who's driving right beside me here. I'm not driving, but my husband is Pastor Donnie Little. We've been married 37 years, high school sweethearts. We're blessed to have 2 adult children and a small 3-year-old, our youngest grandchild. He calls me Gigi. So we love all of our grandchildren. We have 4 in all. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a former teacher. I don't know if you're ever a former teacher, though. You probably teach forever, is what I think.
Yeah.
So an author. And I think most of all, I guess the best way to describe me is that, I do have a love for children. I've spent many years in education. And being on the road here, we're having to look at what we're doing and talking. So it's a little difficult. But so I'm a book nerd, I guess, and I'm super excited just about being here today.
Awesome. So we're going to get right into the questions because I do see that you're traveling, and we want to be cognizant of your travel time as well.
Yes.
Hold on, let me get in the comments over here. Let me turn this down. All right. So now I do know that you and Pastor Little were, as you were saying, I don't know how many people could hear you, but you were saying you guys were high school sweethearts, and you just celebrated March the 2nd. You just celebrated 37 years of being married. Congratulations.
Yes,
Happy anniversary again. You guys are the founders of Divine Appointment Outreach. You're located in Cartersville, Georgia. Now, you're originally from North Carolina.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that's how come y'all be doing. Y'all know about that good country cooking.
Absolutely. We're subject to the bone. Yes.
Them ain't no city folks. And so you are a best-selling author. Tell us about how that happened, and how did you feel when that happened?
Oh, wow. It's a journey. And it still is a journey being a best-selling author. Best-selling author doesn't always mean that you're raking in all the dough. People don't realize that. They think, oh, you're a best-selling author, so you're really getting paid well.
Right.
Well, the book did well, and it's still doing well, but it doesn't mean that you can retire.
Right.
I think when Little B came out, and it ties in with a lot of things that was happening in my life at the time. That Little B make-believe character, though it is not real, it helped me deal with a lot of real life issues during the time when the character came about. it's a bee. The bee could talk and it could function. And the bee book, it really is encouraging parents to spend more time with their children, because parents, the whole issue, the whole thing with Little B is the parents that, they got these major promotions, and it took them away from the home. Little B's whole life was turned upside down, so he starts to rebel in the only way most children his age or around that age would rebel, like elementary school kids. He started to misbehave in school.
Okay.
And being a teacher, being a parent and a teacher, I've been on both sides to be able to see the warning signs of problems, early signs of those like behaviors. So the way I felt when I became a best-selling author, to sum that up, I think I was in, but then I was nervous on the other, because I'm thinking, now what do I do?
Right.
What do I do now that I'm a best-selling author? How do I promote this book? Am I going to be able to keep up with the pace? It was so new to me that I was, I don't know. And it's still, I'm not telling you it's still new, but unless you're on the other side, I think you can relate to what I'm saying. Unless you write and you actually promote your own books, you realize that it can be bittersweet sometimes.
Yes. Okay? Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So how did you find out that your book had hit the best-selling list?
At the time, I was working with a coach.
Okay.
A business book coach. And that was something that he dealt with, and he knew all the systems and ins and outs of that. Since then, I've learned that you can actually go on Amazon yourself and look at the categories and see how that actually works.
Right.
But back then, like I said, that's the bittersweet part. What you don't know, you can pay dearly for what you don't know.
Yep.
And let me tell you, I paid dearly for what I did not know.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson learned, and we learn from each experience, or we try to glean from each experience and do better, or we can be bitter. So I would like to think I'm better for having learned.
Yeah, for having gone through the bitter. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. I was about to sign a contract for an agent one time, and I think he wanted like 40%. And so I sent the contract to my brother, because, I'm in the legal field and it didn't feel right to me. So I'm just like, it's a standard contract, but the percentage didn't feel right, because I'm the writer.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm the talent. I'm the one doing the work, and you're going to take 40%. So my brother and I decided that that was a no-go, and just like you saying, it comes from trial and error. You got to go through some things before you figure out, well, wait a minute, I could have shopped that myself, cut out him and kept my money, but when you don't know, you don't know. And then people make so many promises. Let me say it that way. You almost feel obligated. Like, okay, since you're going to do all of that, then I don't mind giving you that much. But then as you go along and you start learning the game, or the rules of the game, if you will, you start seeing.
Okay, we're having a little difficulty here.
Okay.
We have to sit still and do this interview.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it sounds like you're far away, and your side is frozen.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Sorry.
It might be the area that you're in. That's okay.
Hopefully it'll pick back up in a minute.
Yeah, it could be in a wooded area.
Oh, I can see you now.
Okay. So I was saying that my brother and I decided not to go with that agent, because 40%, when I'm doing all the work, that's a lot of money, Um, and like you said, you don't know at first when you're new to it that a lot of stuff you can do on your own. Um, they even have books to show you how to basically shop your own projects, you know. But if you don't know, you don't know. So
Right.
I absolutely do understand that part. So, but congratulations again on being a best-selling author. That's something that will always be under your hat. That's something that no one can ever say you're not, because you are that. And so, congratulations. We're proud of you for that. Um, I mentioned to you earlier. So, you have a bachelor's degree in education. You spent 25 years, over 25 years, teaching in public schools, preschools, colleges, and also in Christian ministry settings. So,
Yes.
and what this is the thing I said I was going to ask you about. From the time you were teaching in public schools till this current day, and what you see going on now, tell me what's the biggest change you see. The biggest change.
Well, I actually substituted for some time when I came to Georgia, even after I left the public school system full time.
Okay.
And leaving from North Carolina to Georgia, it was a tremendous change just in the system itself. Because
Okay.
North Carolina demands quite a bit more from the teachers, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I mean, top notch. There's so many different trainings and things that we had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but as far as the students, I don't want to sound old school and say a lack of of respect, but I
Mm-hmm.
saw more disrespect and just not. I'm gonna go old school again, not well mannered. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You could tell that they had no regard for authority. Uh, but now, in my opinion, I saw them treat. Okay, let me give you a real life example. I
Okay.
was subbing in the classroom
Okay.
for the first time. I
Uh-huh.
had no clue that this little boy was turning over tables.
Okay.
I had no clue that he was turning out the whole classroom, and the teacher and his fellow students had to run from him.
Oh.
Okay, so when I showed up that morning, the teacher was out. The principal was walking me down the hall, filling me in, telling
Mm-hmm.
me, "Now, Miss Little, if you need me for anything, you just call me." And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't think so.
Right.
I mean, this is second grade. I'm
Right.
an adult. Why would I need you?
Right.
know, but this little boy, oh, he did. He tried. I
Uh-huh.
saw him revving up, like a motor,
Yeah.
and he was gonna shake that table. And I mean, he did everything he could to intimidate me. And
Mm-hmm.
I heard, not the principal did not tell me this, but I heard that little boy had turned over tables, as I said before, and
Uh-huh.
had everybody running out of that classroom. Now, I have to be honest with you. I do believe my faith teaches me that I'm not going to run from a second grader.
Right.
He would have to be super abnormal for me to run. Uh,
Right.
but I looked at him and I just couldn't figure out why such a little person, would have caused all this ruckus.
Right.
And actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. They asked me the same question you did because the principal, the vice principal, and the teacher called me into the office. And we
Mm-hmm.
all sat down and said, "Okay, Miss Little, why didn't he do this with you in the classroom, but he has been doing this type thing, all these type behaviors with the regular classroom teacher?" The mama sat me down. Okay, what are you doing differently? I can't. I won't be honest with you and say this. I think there are some people who are really called to teach, and that's
Ah.
our assignment. That's what we do.
Okay.
Okay, God has called us, and I don't. Everybody may not believe that and throw in the godly part of it, but I do believe God called me to teach, and I still do. When I
Mm-hmm.
walked in that classroom, I didn't walk in the classroom with him in authority.
Right.
He wasn't going to run me out of that classroom for
Right.
$10 an hour. You know,
Right.
I mean, I wasn't going to run for $10. I probably would. I don't think I would have ran and then given me my full salary. You know,
Right.
but I guess to say without being really cocky or arrogant, I'm really not trying to be that way. I think he had a very good teacher. She was really upset they were going to put me in her place and she was going to lose her job. So instead of me having to, and this is, I'm trying to wrap this up. I think teachers are under a lot of stress because the children are different now. They're coming in there taking over the classrooms, and the teachers really don't have as much say so as the students and the parents. The parents
Um,
are coming in there saying my child is so and so such and such, and they're upholding these children in the wrong. And I'm telling you, this little boy was wrong to do what he did. When I saw this little boy 2 years later, I did sub off and on for about 2 years. He was in at the it was elementary when I first saw him in second grade, but he was in a higher grade at another elementary school. Do you know the little boy remembered me and ran up to me and hugged me?
did he?
And I think that he has, like a lot of the children, their children are having to deal with things now that I did not even see or weren't even heard of when I first
Yeah.
started teaching.
Yeah.
We got different family dynamics now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Families are different.
Yeah.
They're going home and to things that we didn't even think about happening or people were hiding then.
Yeah.
The kids are having to, the split between parents. That was the biggest issue that we dealt with, the divorce. But now
Yeah.
kids have two mamas or two daddies, and
Yeah.
the grandmas are raising kids.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be arrogant, or I don't mean to sound
But
like
it's
it's,
true.
yeah. So I mean, and
Hmm.
I salute every grandmother who's raising kids. My grandmother raised me. That's not what I'm
Hmm.
saying, but my grandmother was the typical grandmother. These grandmothers now, some of them, they're not much younger, much older than the child that they're raising,
This is
because
true.
of, and I was a young mom. I'm not knocking that either. Please let
Hmm.
me explain that. I was also a teen mom, but
Yeah.
things were different in the years when I was a teen mom than they are now. you
They're
know
really different.
yes. So I mean, I know I'm talking a lot about that because that's my heart, but
Yeah.
what I want to stand up and say this to you is this. I did see a difference between the two states because it's a different in the training. North Carolina is
Okay.
top notch and it's hardcore. I had to
Hmm.
really go through a lot of intense training to become a teacher, not just the teacher courses themselves and the student teaching, but we had what we call a portfolio. Once I graduated, I still had to answer to the state of North Carolina and do a whole different program just to become
Hmm.
certified.
Hmm.
I mean, not only taking the test, because there are different tests that you have to take in North Carolina, just like Georgia, to become certified. But it was an additional program that I had to go through where I had to set up videos in the classroom, show them
Hmm.
my lesson plans for a whole almost a year. They
Hmm.
tracked me for a year with a mentor. I didn't see that when I came here, and I'm like, wow,
Oh.
I would have skipped 2 or 3 states a long time ago and not put up with all that. But
Oh, okay.
I'm saying the teachers, I just saw a different attitude with the teachers
Hmm.
compared to North Carolina and here. That's why
Right.
I'm telling you. I'm not telling you. I mean, the hardcore. We just didn't take that stuff in North Carolina. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be honest with you. When we walked up in our classroom, this is my classroom. You're here.
Hmm.
Because I'm allowing you to be here and I'm going to be the best teacher I can be for you. But you
Hmm.
can't come up in this classroom any kind of way.
Right.
And most of the teachers, fellow teachers around me had the same attitude. But here, not so much. I mean, I'm not telling you there aren't some that didn't take it that way or
Hmm.
carry themselves in that manner, but, ooh, it was different. Let me
Let
tell you.
me ask you this: did you ever experience, or did you ever see or hear of during your time of teaching? I mean, now it's just common. It happens every day. Students attacking teachers, and teachers get being carried out on stretchers because of the students attacking them and beating. I'm talking about elementary school.
I mean, I
Beating
know.
up adults
Hmm.
with their bare hands.
Well, they're exposed to different things now. Keep in mind, some parents are using drugs now. These kids are born addicted.
Yeah.
You know, the kids are being medicated more than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
more than one medication,
Yeah.
just to get them to get on the bus and show up.
Yeah.
They're going to the office now. I never dealt with as much of that. We're sending kids to the office at 12, and I'm a substitute, and she got a whole list. This one goes to the office at 12 for medication, or to the nurse for 12. We got people on the intercom calling you during the day to send kids to the office. I mean, I'm saying office, to the nurse for medication. I mean, this is medication in the morning and medication after lunch.
Yeah.
So if any, this is elementary school because I normally dealt with. I didn't deal with any kids any older than fifth grade. If they got
Okay.
taller than me, I didn't deal with them. You know, which, which is not
Right.
saying much. I'm only 5'2", but
Right.
yes, I think a lot of it is the medication, and that everybody had, and I don't know the acronyms or the names what they call it now, but everybody had their own EC and their own paperwork. These kids are getting checks now. So if you're medicated, you can find something that some type of medical issue. Then the mama gets a check, or whoever the person is caring for the child, they're getting paid for that, but the child is getting medicated. So if you're coming in there if you're taking medicine twice a day at school, and you're taking it before you leave home, you're not functioning like a normal kid. So these kids that are beating up some of these people,
Mm-hmm.
they're on a lot of different extra things. You see what I'm
Oh.
saying?
Uh-huh.
And I don't mean all of it may not be prescribed. It may be, like I say, they're dealing with the issues. Okay, let me say this. My daughter is a school counselor.
Okay.
So I hear secondhand some things that she puts up with.
Okay.
And it is not what it used to be when I
Right.
first started to teach.
Mm-hmm.
I did not leave because I was tired of teaching. I left because I promised myself the day that I could not give my students the best version of me, then
Mm.
I would not be in that classroom.
Okay.
And when our son passed away,
Mm-hmm.
I could not give them the best version of me because it took everything I had to get up out of the bed and
Yep.
just function as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody may not understand that. I was pastoring a couple of churches at that time. I was, in fact, I was in school
Mm-hmm.
trying to further my education at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, if you're not going to give it your all in the school system or anything, then be brave enough to say, I can't do this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Step back and readjust. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Work on you. And if you go back to that, fine. But if not, move on and let somebody else, carry on where you left off. Perhaps that would be the best thing for everybody involved. But in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say, I think I think parents are sending their kids to school with lot more baggage now. The
Yeah.
kids are doing like Little B. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote Little B because Little B's biggest issue was the parents' schedule was changed and he was coming home alone. He was like that latchkey kid.
Latchkey kid. Yeah.
Yeah, the kid with the key around his neck, letting his or herself in. That
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the biggest issues that I addressed in that book. But now these kids are coming home, feeding themselves, taking care of the siblings. Mama may not be home for a day or two or weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy may not be nowhere to be found. Kids are having to be mamas and daddies now. They're raising themselves pretty much. And I'm hearing a lot, not just from my daughter, who's a school counselor, but from other teachers, from friends. And, I get together sometimes and we chat. I still am connected with some of the teachers that, in our circle before I left. And we
Mm-hmm.
laugh about it now, honey. We glad we got out when we did. You know,
Yeah.
we laugh,
Yeah.
but it's a huge difference. And I don't think anyone will ever understand what it's like to teach unless they've been on that side. You
Yeah.
know, the
I
teach.
remember talking to an 8-year-old, and that 8-year-old was telling me that they could cook a whole meal.
See,
And I was
yes,
like, what you know how to cook? You know how you think kids just talking. They was like,
mm-mm.
I put a chicken in the oven, I cook
Girl.
rice, I know how to cook cornbread. And she went to naming stuff. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
when did you? She was like, oh, I've been cooking since I was 6. Huh? Like, what? Where
Yep.
your dolls at? Where your jump ropes and your hula hoops and your skates and your bicycles? You know, and so I do think, like you said, it's a different time, and
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, um, these younger mothers. I was a teen mom,
Mm-hmm.
um, but you know what? I'm gonna say this. Uh, I had my daughter in. I was in 10th grade.
Me too.
Um, so, and I went to a predominantly white school. And at the time when the white girls would get pregnant, they would go away, have their babies,
Mm-hmm.
and come back. And by the time you saw the baby, you know, it was their sister or brother.
Oh yeah.
You know, we didn't have that luxury.
No ma'am.
We had to have our children and raise our children and claim our own children,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. And so the difference was that Becky can go away and have a baby and come right back to school. I
Mm-hmm.
went away, had a baby, and tried to get back in school and was not allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it took my mom to call our pastor to call the commissioner, and the
Wow.
commissioner had to get involved so that I could go back to school because, again, I went to a predominantly white school during that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And having, and most of us, once we had that one child as a teenager, most of us waited to get married to have another one because we saw what we went through.
Yes.
Today it's not so. Today, by the time these young ladies are 20, they got 4 and 5 children. And the oldest one now becomes the second mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in the first grade, but she's a second mom
Right.
because the children now are what we call stair steps,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, so before she goes to school, she has to get up early enough to help mom get the other babies ready.
Mm-hmm.
When she comes home,
Yes.
she still has to act as the second mom.
Mm-hmm.
So in her mind, she's in a child's body, but
Yes.
she thinks as an adult
Absolutely.
because she
Mm-hmm.
has to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to figure out when those kind of children with that mentality and that going on presents themselves to you all as educators, how do
Mm-hmm.
you all handle that?
Well, it wasn't as much when I first started teaching,
Mm-hmm.
but as a substitute, I'm gonna be honest, I started being the favored substitute. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because I'm a little bit older, hair turned a little silver, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the grandma walking up in there. So,
Right.
oh, Miss Little's here, Miss Little's here. So I believe God gave me favor with the
Mm-hmm.
children so that I could love and hug on them and leave. You
Yeah.
know, I was there to set the stage, and a lot of the teachers preferred me. You know, I would be the referred one. Let me put Miss Little on my list. They have my private number and everything. I dealt
Mm-hmm.
with it because it gave me an opportunity to be a part of the classroom again,
Okay.
but not full time.
Right.
So I took it as a form of ministry, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
pray before I went up in the classroom, pray during the time that I'm there, and ask God to leave that classroom at peace.
Okay.
Because even the teacher I told you about earlier, who was actually going to the doctor, she was just about getting ready to do an early retirement. And I
Because
believe
of the
God sent me
kids.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
She was really at the end of her rope. And she said, Miss Little, I believe they called you here to take my place. I said, sweetheart, they couldn't pay me to take your place. You know, they couldn't pay me enough to take your place right now. You know, and I prayed for her. She was Christian, you know, of course. And, you know, we prayed about it. And I said, I really believe that when she realized I wasn't there to take her place, I'm just here to help you. I want
Right.
to
Right.
assist you. I don't want to take anything from you.
Right.
Um, not that I couldn't have used the money because we all could have, but
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. I knew what she had to deal with,
Yeah.
and it's a lot. So I guess the only way I can explain to you how I actually still deal with, and I've not subbed in a year now because since it really COVID got so all over the place,
Yeah.
fully vaccinated or not, I chose not to go back into that setting as
Okay.
a sub. You're not paid enough as a substitute as it is. You have to love doing what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, even a full teacher salary is not enough.
Right.
And I hope I've answered your question, but it is the difference is, I mean, with being a sub, it is a difference because you go and you come, but the teachers
Mhm.
have to do all the extra. They have to
Yeah.
do the night the meetings, the conferences. If it's an extra program, they're required to stay. And the teachers' work days, all of that is an additional thing to writing the lesson plans and teaching on a daily basis. If there are extra boards and clubs you have to be on, nobody understands that a school is almost operated like a business. You
Um,
have to be on different boards and clubs as a teacher. You have to be there. Like when I mean boards and clubs, there's one club like if you're the beta club, I think it used to be that everybody
yeah.
they may have. If you're on that, you have to be over that whole thing. It's a whole business system and a structure, secretary, president, and all that for that one club. All
Mm-hmm.
that has to be run. It is operated like a business because you have to be accountable for every bit of the money and everything that comes in and out. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to do that and then show up in your regular classroom. That's a lot for one teacher to have to do.
So there's no overtime or
No,
any
ma'am.
of that for teachers
No, ma'am. Now, if you
because
have a real
there's.
principal, and God knows I've been graced with some good ones, I was able to leave the classroom and take courses,
Mhm.
and not use my time. But I'm
Right.
telling you, I was just graced. I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you. I spoiled, graced, favored, you name it. Honey, I got a whole master's degree and taught at the same time and didn't use any of my time.
Right.
Okay. And when I went to get the bachelor's degree, I was working for Head Start. I was blessed there. Not only did they give me the time off, I taught full time. They gave me the time off to go to class. And plus, when everybody got their bonus, I got mine.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, I was favored in the
Right.
system. But but what I'm saying about here and now with the teaching thing, the whole arena of teaching to me, something is off.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
really put my finger on what it is,
Hang on.
to be
Yeah.
honest with you, but it's okay when the teachers aren't being favored like that, and when you don't used to be a teacher was like almost like a preacher. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
Teacher had that status, but
Something is off there too.
I mean, you were like at the top of the food chain. But now it's like the teachers aren't really being recognized like that. So if
Hmm.
if the parents in society, as a whole, don't see teachers like at the top like that anymore, then
Yeah.
what are we expecting the students to feel when they walk up in that classroom?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Teachers
know,
are not, I don't think teachers should be viewed as um your work time babysitters or
and,
your daytime babysitters,
mhm,
because then you have irate parents that come barking at teachers. Well, first of all, you knew little Johnny was bad because he bad at home.
there you go.
So when I call you to tell you little Johnny did something, don't come running up here talking about what your child wouldn't do when you know this is what he do at home.
Yeah, right.
So, and I know for a fact, even that has changed.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it used to be, I know when we used to get my husband and I at that time,
Hmm.
when we would get calls from the school, it was nothing. We out there, we at the school system, we at the school listening to what was said,
Right.
and we knew, especially my son, we knew he was guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
Knew he was guilty because we knew he was rambunctious, just like they described him, because he
Yeah.
was doing that kind of stuff at home,
Hmm.
jumping off dressers and flying off the back of the sofa and superhero this and superhero that. So when he goes to school, in the fourth grade, him and his little friends, they decide they want to run through the hallway and hit the fire exit sign, see who can touch it first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when my son hit it, it broke.
Oh, wow, of course.
So they called me. I have to go out there. That's a $75 charge for me, number one. By the time I get out there, I'm in with the administrators. I'm in there with the school psychologist. So I'm trying to figure out why I'm in here with so many people. First of all,
Right.
this boy done told these people the reason he didn't mean to break the exit sign. He broke it by mistake because he have anger issues and he's in therapy for anger issues. He told the people he go to counseling for anger issues.
Oh, man.
So instead of them punishing him, they called me. So now I'm sitting in front of the school psychologist. I'm sitting in front of the lady with the, what is it, the EIP,
Uh-huh.
she wanted to do a plan for him and everything. I'm
See?
sitting in front of all these people and I'm trying to figure out, okay, I paid the $75. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me, well, how long has he been in therapy? I said, how long has he been where? In counseling, therapy. I said, he's not in counseling. They said, well, ma'am, your son said he broke it by mistake because he was angry and that he has an anger issue and he goes to counseling for anger. I said, ma'am, let me tell you something. My son does not go to counseling for anything. I said, well, by the time I get through with him tonight, he's going to need therapy. And everybody in that room fell out laughing. When they told me what he did, I said, he does that. I know y'all tell him, just who I pay.
Uh-huh.
Who
Yes.
I got to pay. Who I'm going to pay. I'm not going to argue with y'all. And now I didn't know he was that creative to come up with that kind of lie now. That part I didn't know he was that advanced. That caught me off guard.
Yeah, that's high level thinking right there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level. That ain't fourth grade thinking.
Uh-uh.
My mama said, that's what you get for taking them children around them other people.
I know what mama meant. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I know what she was talking about. Oh, goodness.
So I know it's different, even dealing with the parents.
Yes.
From the time you were teaching, even to this current day, I know it's different dealing with parents.
It
and
is.
trying to explain to them, okay, this is what's happening in the classroom. Because I was reading about the little boy. I think he was 5 or 6. He couldn't have been much older than that. And he beat his teacher up so bad, they took her out on the stretcher.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the administration got there, she was kind of in and out of consciousness, and the little boy, he only had his hands.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how many times at home did that happen.
Right.
And the parents not warn the school about this behavior, so that everybody is safe now.
Right.
So that when you have to make a call to a parent, they don't come up after you as a teacher. Oh, my child ain't. And yes, he is. And you know this because 9 times out of 10, now some of them act up when they get away from home, but 9 times out of 10, the way these children act in school is the way they're allowed to act at home.
Absolutely.
So I knew when they told me what my son did, I knew it was true because he liked to fly off furniture at home.
I'm laughing with you because we did the same thing with our 2 boys. Yes.
Ain't no need of going out there giving them teachers and administration a hard time when you know your child.
It's true. This is true.
So I know things have changed. Now, I was asking you, the last time I think you say you taught like full time was like 2006.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me ask you a real honest question, Pastor.
Sure.
Ask her. We're going to plan. This a plan. There's a top right here.
Okay.
Would you ever go back to full time teaching as of today?
I would not in the regular classroom. I probably would on the college level. Hmm. You're, I kind of lost you a little bit. I hope you can still hear me. Um, on the college level because I have pretty much aged out. I think of some of the things that they're doing now in the classroom. I don't think that I would be a good fit. Yeah. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know if we've maxed out of time or what, Pastor. Mm.
It's back.
Okay.
Am I
Okay,
still
I see you now.
frozen?
No, I still
Okay,
see
we're
you. I
back.
see you now.
Okay.
I hope, did you
Okay.
hear my answer? Okay. I
No,
would
no. What
not
did you
want to
say?
teach. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not on the elementary school level, of which I'm
Okay.
certified.
Uh huh.
K6 was my certification. That
Uh huh.
age group at my age right now at 57, no ma'am, I would
Yeah.
not want to teach that age group.
Okay.
If it was a senior class, like college, I mean high school, those guys
Right.
that get ready to graduate, I could probably deal with that age group now. And the college level, which I taught at the community college level, that I would do. But
Okay.
no, ma'am, I don't think so. I see too much now. And like you said it, we both
Yep.
agree. These kids are
Yep.
having to be the mamas and the daddies now, the second
Yep.
mamas, second daddies. They're
Yep.
not coming up in there as students no more, honey. They coming up in there as our equals.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
then you got single mothers telling their sons, "Well, you the man of the house now. You mama little
Right.
man. You mama
Mm-mm.
little man. You the man of the house." I
Yeah.
could, that's a whole nother show for me.
Yes,
That's a
ma'am.
whole nother show for me.
Mm-hmm.
So now you make this little boy,
Yeah.
uh, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
So
But I agree with you, and I know what you're
yeah,
saying. I
yeah,
believe children need to be children as long as they can. You
yep,
know, give
yep,
me that. Let them have their childhoods because it only comes by once.
yep. When it's
You know,
gone, it's gone.
it's gone.
I'm telling you.
I
So
see.
let's talk about the book series right quick while we still got some good Wi-Fi going on.
Oh,
I
I
don't know
hear
if a
you. Yes.
storm is coming, or normally if a storm is coming, that kind of
Hmm.
makes the Wi-Fi a little
Yeah.
shaky or what have you. So let's talk about you talked earlier about the quality time with Little B, and then you have the Pumpkin Bees Pigtails. Now
Hmm.
that's part of, even though it's two different books, but it's part of the same series.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. So you told us about quality time with Little B. Now, what is Pumpkin Bees Pigtails about?
Pumpkin Bee's Pigtails is about the hair battles that I had with our oldest daughter.
Oh.
She had long hair and
Mm-hmm.
never liked to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And she would give me the hardest time with
Mm-hmm.
her hair. And so the book goes on from when she's a small child working with the hair from preschool on up until she started that preteen stage, and I would do her hair, and
Mm-hmm.
she'd go in the room to get dressed and come out with that hair a whole different way, you know. And here I didn't have time to redo it
Right.
because it's time to walk out the door.
Right.
And back then I wasn't quite the Christian I am now. So I would say a few choice words all the way home, all the way out the door to the car, and halfway to school. But she
And them
she
kids,
grew. Yeah.
we be fussing, them kids be like, okay, but I already did it.
I know. And listen, in the book, the one thing that I knew, she knew that she had won. The battle
Right.
was all. She won the battle
Right.
because I didn't have time. She chose the
Right.
precise time when they're gonna make a mess of that hair. You know. And I said, this is a book that most moms can relate to because we all go through those stages with our daughters. But then by the time they get big enough to actually drive us crazy, we want them to be little again and keep them
Yeah.
at a certain age forever. But she's now, so to speak, reaping what she has sown, because
Hmm.
she has one of her own. And I said,
Yep.
oh honey, she'll say, Mom, I just didn't know. I said, well, baby, it gets better. Just keep going.
Right.
So yeah.
And so then you have another children's book that focuses on family values and the importance
Hmm.
of spending quality time with the family. Then you have another book
Hmm.
called Red Glasses. Let's see. Is that Surrender Journal?
Yes. It's a journal in the book. It's
Okay.
together. Hmm.
Oh, okay. So tell us,
Hmm.
how did that come about?
Red Glasses was part of a major life change for me. I
Okay.
hit 50
Mm-hmm.
and life changed.
Mm-hmm.
The menopausal stages up and down and all those new things started to happen with my
Mm-hmm.
body. A whole new decade, but a whole new lifestyle to boot.
Mm-hmm.
And since I had never been 50, did not really know what my body was going to do. I mean, not that I went in there totally ignorant. I heard mom and them talk about, fanning and what
Right,
all
right,
that
right,
stuff. And I saw them do it rather. And I heard them say, oh Lord, all the little things they would say. But nobody can prepare you for menopause.
right,
I don't care what drug you take or what medication or herb. I don't think anyone can prepare you. It may help,
right.
but I went through, and not only did I have the menopausal thing. Keep in mind, we had moved from our hometown and home state of North Carolina. We had been there all our lives,
Mm-hmm.
27 years in the same house. That's where we reared
Oh,
our three kids and everything. So we had a lot of transitionings going on, life transitionings. I
yeah.
mean, not only we lost a son at 19, and that we were probably in our, I don't know, that was it was. I don't do the numbers very well, because the numbers adding up time to me is one of those things that make it seem like a longer duration for me. So
Mm-hmm.
when I think about how long it's been since we lost our son, I think that was the thing I asked God to take from me. The
Mm-hmm.
time. Don't let me add up the time and how long it's been and the day and all that, because it's, I don't want to celebrate loss. I want to celebrate his life.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
so I was still going through the grieving process, if you will.
Uh-huh.
So, but Red Glasses, in a nutshell, it talks about my natural vision, and it takes the reader on a spiritual quest for my spiritual vision, because the natural part of me was going through one battle, but I also went through a spiritual side where I
Yeah.
had to own the fact God is calling me to a higher call.
Mm-hmm.
And not that you want to do all this stuff, but you
Right.
don't really have a choice.
Right.
I mean, so when I talk about God's favor, God does favor. His grace for all of us. His grace is sufficient.
Yes.
But I'm saying, when we're in order and when
Mm-hmm.
we line up with what God has for us,
Mm-hmm.
life does become different.
It
You know,
does. Mm-hmm.
very different. Now, if
Yeah.
you're going to go against it, and you all out here all the time, and you trying to part the water all the time like you Moses, you're gonna, honey, you're gonna sink. Or drown half the time. But you know, but with Red Glasses, I mean, even though I have these glasses on, they're just readers.
Right.
And I can't see the words or anything without them on, because, in a nutshell, I had a condition which the surgery corrected the corneal transplants.
Uh-huh.
It's called keratocornea.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm saying that correctly, everyone says it differently. But I
Mm-hmm.
have two deceased people's corneas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it came from two different people, two
Mm-hmm.
different. It was like 3 years apart between the surgeries,
Uh-huh.
and I was legally blind at one time.
I didn't know they could do that.
Oh yes, ma'am, honey. They called me the first time. I said, "Oh, honey, we ain't gonna do this." They called me already for the surgery. I was not ready for that. It took me 10 years to do it.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, I ran over all kind of stops, all kind of things, everything. I hit so many things with that car. My children were literally helping me drive. So, and Donnie would say he's going in the house now. I just chose to stay in the car because I'm thinking I'm not going to root this camera. But if he was in here, he probably would say, "Oh yeah," But he would say, I don't know how in the world you children get in that car and go to sleep on your mama. But I lived in the country during that time. God thankful I wasn't in Marietta six,
Oh
rain deep.
no.
Girl, that would have taken me out. But
Yes.
long story short, my eye doctor, when I was I talk about my battle with my battle with contacts in the beginning, and I didn't want to do it again, but now I wear contacts and the readers,
Hmm.
both. And the specialist told me that I was a menace to society because there is no way. Now I took that with grace because he said, I don't know how in the world you have been able to ride around Marietta. And I mean, really, I did not have contacts when I came here. I got them after coming here. I wore regular prescribed glasses, And he said, I don't know how you've been able to see driving around Marietta with those glasses. And he said, you just a menace to society like this. When I put those contacts in, girl, I cried. I literally sat in that office and booed like somebody was whipping on me
Because you could
because I
see.
realized he was right. He was right. He was a cocky little old something, but he
Right.
knew his stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
now he's not with the clinic anymore, the eye care clinic. But
Mhm.
long story short, I know red glasses seems like it's just why does she wear those glasses all the time? Because I went from seeing one way to seeing another way.
Okay.
God opened up my eyes to a whole different way of life per se, but my whole vision, my natural vision changed. My life became better. I became more independent when I got these contacts. I could not drive at night. I couldn't see the stop signs. I memorized how to get around Marietta. Because when we
Right.
came to Georgia, that's where we were at first in
Right.
Marietta. We live in Cartersville now. But honey,
Mhm.
nobody should be going around Marietta not being able to see.
I know.
Marietta's not nothing to play with. It's a little Atlanta.
Right. Right.
It's not like the country where I came from, a one stoplight within 4 miles.
Hmm.
It was. So again, God's grace. And so
Yeah.
Red Glasses is one of those books where I think I know the Holy Spirit wrote it because I didn't, but I lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each book that you write, and this is what's so amazing about writing, and to those of you that are watching and you desire to write books or what have you, the amazing thing about writing, um, is that you do get to put so much of yourself
Mm-hmm.
into your writing. You know, it's not only is it expressional, a lot of time it's therapeutic.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's the good part about being an author. The bad part about being an author is when you have so many books stuck in your head at one time. Like now, I got 5 books in my head, and every time I get ready to sit down to chart one of them out, something else comes up.
Yes.
So then I got to lock that back up for a minute, to go
Mm-hmm.
deal with this, and this. But the books are still there. They're just, and it's like, Um, but if you are aspiring to be a writer, um, certainly Pastor Little would be someone good for you to reach out to because she is, after all, best-selling author. So, and what I like about the way you've done your titles, each title also tells a story about a particular point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool
Thank you.
also. So the last thing we want to talk about, you and I have something in common. We both lost a child. I don't, was that your eldest child you lost?
He
Your
was
firstborn?
eldest boy. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter was my firstborn and
Mm-hmm.
eldest daughter. She was my
Mm-hmm.
firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, a teen mother. I had her at
Mm-hmm.
16, 10th grade high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now I heard you say that you don't, are you saying you don't keep up with like the anniversaries of your son's death?
I do, but I don't treat them the way I did in the beginning.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. And I used to do this big thing on Facebook and put his picture up and birth date to the day that he passed. And I don't do that anymore because it's easier for me not to do it that way.
Yeah.
Um, we did not even have a graveside.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
We did his homecoming, as we call it, celebration at the school, the elementary school, in the auditorium where he attended elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, being in the country setting, people will want, everyone wanted to go to the gravesite.
Mm-hmm.
We totally skipped that step.
Okay.
I did not want to see that part, of that happening. But then I wonder maybe on down the line if I should have done that because maybe I didn't give myself the closure that I needed. So
Mm-hmm.
I did therapy. I went to a licensed counselor and we did all of that. Um, I'm not against that type of therapy. I even though I'm a Christian, I'm human
Yeah.
and I'm a mom, and I did that part for my mental health. But I'm gonna be honest, it was a long going process for me, and it still is. I'm just beginning
Sure.
now, and I can tell you, not it happened in 2000. See, I'm trying to think now hard. I want to say 2005,
Mm-hmm.
2004, 2005. And I don't want to seem like I'm a negligent mom that I don't remember that. I literally try not to think hard about it because to me, it's like pulling the scab off from a wound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to cover it up or be in denial over it, but what I'm the best advice I can give anyone is to walk through your own process the
Yeah.
way you see it happening for you at the time.
Yeah.
Some people, it may help them to remember numbers like that and to
Mm-hmm.
celebrate a different way. His girlfriend at that time went to the grave, let go of balloons, and she decorated the grave. She had to do that. She
Mm-hmm.
wrote him little notes and dug up holes and put it all down in there to him and put all his favorite stuff on the gravesite. That didn't work for me. I
Mm-hmm.
went by there for a while and looked at that grave, and he was in barber school at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and did not finish his course. So I started to write. It is
Mm-hmm.
therapeutic for me now as much as then because we formed a scholarship in his name,
Mm-hmm.
and a portion of the books go toward the scholarship at the college where I received my first degree in our
Okay.
hometown of North Carolina.
Okay.
So again, it's just favor because one year someone doubled the amount of the scholarship, you know.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So, but last year was the first year we did not do the sponsor the scholarship. It's just I haven't turned out a book in a year,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so last year we did not. But hopefully this year we will because,
Yeah.
like you said, I have all these books in my head, but I'm one of those writers. I pretty much live my books,
Yeah.
and once I'm through with the process, I can
Yeah.
write the book. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Yeah.
I salute you for the reason that I've watched the girls grow. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I laugh with you with them, and they were the things that they would do and say. I'm thinking that helped me
Right.
to laugh with you and to walk through my own process because when you go through something similar, which you and I have,
Mm-hmm.
I've never met you personally,
Mm-hmm.
but we share a bond
Yes.
that I can't really explain right now.
Right. Right.
And I appreciate it. Before I get off, and I know I'm a talker, I can babble and go on and say things off the top of my head sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, right now, I'm grateful that we're having this interview
Yeah.
because today I've gone through a lot this week, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just helped me to show up on because I almost thought
Yep.
I want to start. Let me call her. Honey, if you really don't want to do it, if you don't feel up to it, I kept sensing something, and
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't really have to do this if you don't want to, you
You
know.
probably was sensing
Oh,
the fact that I was lying in the bed crying.
mm-hmm,
Just feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Just feeling overwhelmed. Um, Normally I can, this is my daughter passed away on March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why um, it's still really fresh for me is still because I don't have full answers yet.
Yes.
And although this year will make 4 years and
Mm-hmm.
I have death certificates, I have what they say happened. But the doctor himself told me, Miss Bradley, we don't even know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to guess, you got to put something on the death certificate,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
so, um, and it was so much that happened,
Mm-hmm.
surrounding that time, 1 minute she got married March 3rd.
I remember. Yeah.
By March 31st, you dead. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much that we don't know still, and we have no way to get any answers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so today was real heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's real heavy. Uh, a friend of mine, he literally like had to talk me like, get up. It's almost time for your show.
Mm-hmm.
Stop crying. Get up. I mean, he literally had to talk me, tell me to get up, go fix your hair, go
Yeah.
put your makeup on,
Mm-hmm.
go put your clothes on, get up, get dressed. You know, stop crying. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't. And they said, I'm gonna call you back in 10 minutes. But he called right back in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was still in the bed. I'm like, that went 10 minutes. And so he made a joke and made me start laughing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started getting dressed, washing my face and putting eye drops in and
Mm-hmm.
kept putting, I got my eye drops right here.
Honey, I know I had to do that too. Mm-hmm.
Kept putting eye drops in, just kind of kept shaking it off.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know, because he kept saying, what's wrong? And I just kept telling him, I felt tired.
Yeah.
I felt mentally drained.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to have to keep figuring this out anymore. One of the things my daughter had told me, she was like, for a while she did battle. When she was 19, she had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay.
But that's not what killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what that didn't kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And she would always tell me, after I had my first brain surgery in 2016, crazy part was my daughter, and my best girlfriend. I gave both of them power of attorney over me going into my first brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And then my daughter was already battling cancer. And then my girlfriend, after my brain surgery, probably a year or so later, she gets diagnosed with a rare form of ovarian, like an ovarian cancer or something like that. Well, hers was so progressive. She died like within 3, 4, 5 months of being diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months later, my daughter dies. So now I'm feeling guilty because the two people that I had given power of attorney over me, they died 6 months apart. So now both of them are gone. So I'm
Mm.
like, so okay, I didn't know what to do. So I battle with that from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
you know and I think, like you said earlier, being Christians, we don't like to discuss mental health issues. um, we don't like to discuss the fact that we need counselors and therapy and things of like that, because uh, we are just so hardcore Christians. But
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can have Jesus and a good therapist,
Absolutely. I do
because
too.
I have
Mm-hmm.
them both.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I
Mm-hmm.
still see my therapist once a month. you know um so normally around this time I could call my mom, but now mom just suddenly passed
Mm-hmm.
not even a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I remember telling my sister, when my mom passed, I said, do you realize at 52 now, at 50, I think I was 53, yeah, last year, I said, at 53, I feel like an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister, she looked at me and she said, she called me Nita. She said, you know what, Nita? Well, that makes all of us orphans then.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so this time, it's really uh, difficult, but um, this show and going through with it tonight
Mm-hmm.
probably was my saving grace.
Yes.
You know, um, even me when I booked you, not realizing the timing of
Mm-hmm.
everything. You know, just so I thank you. And a lot of times people are always, they see me, I guess, what's called so put together.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter last week said to me, she said, Mom, I want you to remember now, it's only been 4 months since you had 3 blood transfusions.
Mm-hmm.
You were hemorrhaging to death,
Mm-hmm.
and you had just had brain surgery. So I'm like, no, it's been longer than that. And so she started counting. She said, okay, well, let's do, you had the brain surgery in October. I said, yeah. She said, 3 weeks later, you hemorrhaged till you was dying. She said, that was in November. And then she said, November, no, she said December, January, February, March.
It's 4 months.
So I was like, but it seems longer to me
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. Maybe because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be, because I got that, you know, what old folks used to say, girl, you just fast. I just,
Yeah.
I got that.
Uh-huh.
And, but she's right.
Yeah.
It's only been 4 months. I'm still dealing with the loss of my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
now the loss of my mother. And I still got to go next month and have what's called gamma knife radiation surgery.
Wow.
So I thank you for showing up,
My pleasure.
because you, had you canceled, then I would have had an excuse to just stay in that bed and just cry, keep crying. I do know sometimes a good cry is good, but the cry I was feeling and where I was going, I think I was going to a dark place,
I understand that.
because I
Mm-hmm.
know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ashamed to say I know the difference, because I've been
Yes.
there before.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, as Christians, we don't like to talk about these things, because that
Mm-hmm.
we think it means we don't have faith, or it
Right.
makes us less anointed, or it makes us whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, when you have the favor of God,
Yes.
I mean, it don't matter. I tell people, listen, when you have something that's going on with you and you need to go see a therapist, go see your therapist.
Mm-hmm.
If they give you medication, honey, take your medication
That's
and
right.
pray while you taking it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have made mental health and mental health issues so taboo until
Yes.
we have so many people, even Christians, living under the radar
Mm-hmm.
with mental health issues.
Yes, I agree.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm never afraid to talk about it. I've been to that dark place before,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and sometimes it gets comfortable there
It
because
does.
can't don't
Yes.
nobody know you really there, so ain't can't nobody
Mm-hmm.
bother you there
Right.
because they just
Right.
think, oh, all I gotta do is say I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well we're gonna let you rest. You know, they don't know that they don't know what's going on in here.
That's right.
You know, and so I think we have to talk more openly about it and be more honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
agree. Mm.
every day I miss my daughter. Every day.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Every day I miss her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I say it like this: we grew up together.
Yes,
I
I
was
understand that
16.
too. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was a baby having a
Have
baby.
me too.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? You had
Yes.
your son early?
I had a daughter. Now
Oh,
she
you had
is
your
the
daughter early.
oldest. I was 16 when I had her.
Mm-hmm.
16 when I got pregnant. I have to think about all kind of dates. See, I forget that too. I was I was a junior in high school when she was born.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I had just turned 16, maybe 17, I guess. Girl, I
Yeah.
told you I don't know. I forget those things
Babies
on
having
purpose.
babies.
Yeah, but I was too
Ba-
young to have a baby.
yeah,
Yes.
babies having babies.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so yeah, she's like my sister.
Right?
Yeah. She calls me mama. But
Right.
there's so many things I can relate to that we talk about now. Yeah, I can relate. You know.
Yeah. 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 And there's
Yeah.
so many people out there that are listening or may see this on the replay, um, that can identify with what we're saying. Um, One of the things I did, I'm starting a grief support group,
Okay.
not as a means of counseling or assessing or trying to treat anyone, but just as a means as a support group and
Mm-hmm.
sharing coping mechanisms with
Yes.
each other because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you might be able to tell me what you did and that might help me because it could be
Mm-hmm.
something I never even thought of.
Mm-hmm.
So that starts on April 21st. um,
Okay.
and it's free, uh, but everyone has to register so we can have an account of who is in the group.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. And so that'll be posted on social media. Um, well, it's already on, but you'll be probably seeing more about it.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to contact you, how can they contact you?
Okay. I I've tried this myself, and I can punch in my name on
Uh-huh.
Google, so it actually pulls me up
Mm-hmm.
on Google now. That was exciting when I realized I could do that. Um, but author, like www author Shonda Little, it'll pull up our website and
Okay.
our webpage.
And
And
Shonda is spelled with that IA on the end. That's why I thought it was Shandia.
yeah, and everybody says it differently, but it's a story behind my name too, because my nickname at home, they call me Shan, SHAN,
Uh-huh.
or Shandy with an I at the end instead of an A.
Okay.
When I wanted to leave the country for the first time, I had to get my birth certificate. And long story short, I saw that it was an E on the end. I
Oh.
thought they were just calling me Shandy for a nickname.
Uh-huh.
I was not about to be Shandy. You know what I
Shand.
mean? So, honey, I changed that A because back then, the birth certificates were handwritten.
Right.
Now, it was when I left, I changed it then, but it was already changed before. I tell the story that I did it when I was going to leave the country, but I think I received the very first birth certificate when I wanted to apply for a Social Security card.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I think I initially changed the A.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote right over that E and changed it because her handwriting was just so proper, that I could do it.
Wait, oh
But
wait. So you say you had a handwritten birth certificate?
yes, it was handwritten. It was my original birth certificate 57 years ago was handwritten. It was not typed. It was written in cursive, honey. It was handwritten. You know what? If I was in the house, no, I probably don't even know where it is. We moved so many times. But if I can find it, I'll definitely inbox it and show it to you.
Okay.
But it
I've
was
never heard of a
handwritten.
birth certificate
Yeah,
not printed.
yeah, it was printed. But I mean, it's authentic because it was on file. They still filed it. But back then, it was a little bit segregated. So you had the black on one side and whites on the other. But I was born in 65. I don't know why it was, in that area. She may just hadn't come up to the par. Maybe they just weren't where they needed to be at the time. But I even researched back. I know we're getting off track, but what I'm saying is there's a lot in the name with
Yeah.
most of us. We don't realize it, but you know, I'm called Shonda all the time because that's the professional name that I chose.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is pronounced Shandia, or
Okay.
Shandia. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So I was right.
yeah. You were right.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So it's author Shonda
Little
Little.com.
.com. I think it is. Yeah, .com. It's a new one. I just got a new one, but yeah, yeah.
Okay. Instagram, I hope you all can hear that. You all normally tell me if you can't hear, and then you can see her. This is your monitor right here. Okay. You're watching the live monitor for YouTube. Okay. Um, so that's author Shonda Little.com, everybody. All
Yeah.
right. All right, Pastor Luke, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing advice for people that may want to become an author or they want to write a best-selling book? What would you say to them?
Oh, definitely pursue it. Don't keep the book in your head because someone is waiting on them to write that book.
Mhm.
If I had to talk directly to the person, someone's waiting on you to write that book. And, I'm one of those people. I know I'm not a stickler for telling everybody this, but when I turned out Red Glasses, I know I have to do a second edition
Mhm.
because I know that, or reprint or whatever you want to call it, I know that it's not perfect.
Right.
Sometimes we want everything to be perfect when we turn it out.
Mhm.
But understand that our imperfections are what make us who we are.
Yeah.
And I know that Red Glasses for me it's just a transitioning from one step to the next.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, I even write a little area about depression in there.
Mhm.
So when you're writing, and I use Red Glasses because that happens to be my signature right now with the
Mhm.
little B,
Mhm.
you have to believe that you can do it and get you the right audience, the right people. Like you needed your buddy today, get you
Mhm.
someone that's going to stick with you. My husband is my buddy.
Mhm.
He'll I believe in you. You can do it. I
Mhm.
mean, my hand's in his pocket, but he still working, making my heart beat. Keep going,
Right.
keep going.
Right.
And you don't. It's easy to lose heart in what you do.
Yes.
When it's your work, it's like your food. You're cooking all the time. You like what somebody else makes, but you get
Right.
so used to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Other people have a taste for who you are and a
Mhm.
taste for what you have, your product, your content, just like your show. They have a
Mhm.
taste for what you're doing now because they keep showing up.
Right.
So if you never write it and it's never in print, then you don't leave that legacy for your children and your family, and you also aren't putting out the content that someone needs to survive.
Mhm.
I'm waiting on someone to put something out right now,
Mhm.
to include me. I'm waiting on your books to come out. Someone
Yeah.
is waiting on you to
Yeah.
finish those 5 books up there in your head. So get
Yeah.
you the right audience.
Yeah.
Don't, like you said earlier, don't be so quick to sign every contract because sometimes people can see who have done it long enough that you have a really good idea and they want
Mhm.
a piece of you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happened to me a lot. And
Yeah.
it is a setback.
Yeah.
All those bites and pieces taken out of you can discourage you if you don't believe in what you're doing.
Mhm.
You'll stop really soon. You'll throw in the towel.
Yeah.
But the right people backing you, and pushing you in that direction to put the material out there. And people start telling you things about what you're writing. When the best thing that will keep you going is when someone reads your book and starts to regurgitate back to you
Yeah.
what it did for them.
Yes.
And I'm like, you got all that from that. That wasn't what I was thinking.
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna have to say it in a nutshell. Sometimes what we do is not for us.
Right.
Totally. It may
Right.
help us through our process. I live through my process by writing, and it's therapeutic, but it can save somebody else's life. Whereas it's just helping me journey through something. It can be a major impact for someone else. So please write those books. And like I said, get your tribe, get your audience. God will always send someone to help you when you really, really are not confident. Because sometimes you're not even gonna feel confident as an author.
Mm-mm.
You're gonna feel like you just can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a group of people, if not just one person. Find you someone that really can help push you on the times when you just. And I keep saying it over and over again because God knows I need that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at that point now where I'm thinking, am I ever gonna write again?
Yeah. That's how I feel too.
But and I've reached out to you a time or two, and we'll start something like, okay, give me time, I'll get back with you.
Yeah.
But it's not that I don't want to. It's just that writing is a process, and if you don't stick with it, you can go under real quickly with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to write a book, especially when they found out you have more than one book out. Like I have 4 books on Amazon. Right. And the funny part about those books, I actually put those books out during my recuperation time after my first brain surgery. So my first brain surgery was in December, and then the following year I just wrote because I was I was down a lot.
Yes.
So I wrote. So by the last quarter of the following year, I put out a book each month of the last quarter. And I remember my brother asking me, who wrote these books? I said, I wrote them. How you come out of brain surgery and write 4 books in 1 year like that?
Right.
I was like, I don't know. Some stuff I literally, my mom used to tell me, she said, girl, if I could just have one of them sessions between you and the Holy Ghost. She said, my mom said she had this vision that the Holy Ghost just open up my head and just be pouring himself in. So my mom used to tell me, I wish I could just sit in on a couple of sessions,
Lord have mercy.
And so that's what I tell people. Sometimes I can audibly hear dictation while I'm writing.
Yes.
And it's like the Holy Spirit is dictating and I can audibly hear it. So when someone comes back and say, remember that part in the book where it said blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, girl, I said that. That sounds good.
I know.
That was deep. Well, I said that's good. That'll preach right there. Who said that?
Red glasses, yes.
Yeah. So I totally understand, and I appreciate you coming. I certainly appreciate you stopping your traveling and letting us share the rest of the ride with you. And Mr. Little, tell Mr. Little we said thank you so much for being a safe driver while we did the interview.
Girl, we got lost trying to find something. I didn't want to tell it on myself, but we got dressed up trying to find something. We were having a few words before we got on the broadcast, and I thought, well, after 37 years, people think you're supposed to be all the time.
Right.
Honey, I can tell y'all some stories. But, listen, so we're still married after him getting lost and we're not knowing what went on. And so I thought we're not going to get home in time, but I'll try to make something work. So I didn't want to come on this broadcast.
Right.
But the Holy Spirit made me do it. Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
But, so it is. People don't tell the truth. You know what I mean? But I am the real deal. I'm telling you, sometimes probably more real than I want to be. But But I thank you for allowing me to share this time. I really wasn't feeling 100% my best today either.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad. Yeah, I kept feeling all these little things. And I'm like, Lord, is it me or is there something going on that I don't know about?
Yeah.
So when you got on and told you all that you are dealing with or had to deal with, I'm just grateful that we're here together because I have
Yeah.
a strong feeling you and I have more in common than we realize.
Yeah.
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 And I'm thankful for this time because I don't think enough people are sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really authentic stories. I mean, it's
Right.
easy to get all made up and doctor those stories up, but
Yep.
what heals us from inside out as people is the authentic side.
Yes.
If it's
Yeah.
not real, if you're not, you know the difference in rib crab meat and authentic, and the fake kind. You know what I mean? I just had
Imitation.
some rib crab a while ago.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a difference. You know what I mean? So
Oh no.
yeah, girl, it ain't the same. I don't care what nobody say.
Nobody is not
Yeah,
the same.
it's not the same. So we need to be authentic, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you are, and I thank you for this time to be able to share. Okay.
Oh, my pleasure. My
Yeah,
pleasure. Again, thank you so much for being my guest. And
absolutely.
again, this is uh my first best-selling author. And I'm just excited to have you. And I look forward to the future of what's going to come next.
Yes.
All right. And thank
All
you
right.
again so much for being here. And again, guys, if you want to get in touch with her, if you want to get any of her books, go to the is it the website? Go to the website.
Website. They're also on Amazon as well.
Oh, okay. You can get them on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what's your name on Amazon?
Shonda Smith Little. My maiden name is in the middle on
Okay, so if
Amazon.
you're on Amazon, look her up by Shonda Smith Little.
Mm-hmm.
The title of the book's Quality Time with Little Bees and Pumpkin Bees Pigtails.
Mm-hmm.
Is Red Glasses Surrender Journal on Amazon yet?
It is, and I can do it all by myself. Is my very first children's book. It's on
Okay,
there as well. Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay, so guys, go back and hit replay so you can get all of her books and then go either to the website or to Amazon and make sure you get the products, okay? All right, Pastor, we'll see you soon. Thank you again for being my guest.
Thank you so much.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
love you.
Love you too. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You have been watching Live Talk with Benita Bradley. It has been my pleasure to be your host. This week, I'll be on, but I'll be Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be on our regular shows. And then on the 6th, I think that's the first. Let me look it up real quick. I think that is the first Sunday. Hold on, let me see what day he's coming. Um. Uh. uh mm, I think he's coming on the 3rd. I don't have my other calendar in front of me, but you guys remember the slap heard around the world? Um, the gentleman that slapped the other man 17 times in Applebee's for calling him the N word. He will be our guest next month. We want to hear his side of the story, and we want to understand why does the use of the N word, um, why does it promote so much emotions? We want to talk to him and get his side of the story, and we want to ask him those questions. So he'll be with us next month. Um, I wish I had my other calendar in front of me, but I don't have it here. He'll be here the first weekend next month. Okay, I do know that much. I don't know what day right now. It is already scheduled. So keep your notifications on. We are going to play the video. So if you're super sensitive to the use of the N word, or if you're super sensitive to someone being slapped, I do want to forewarn you. Um, the video is very detailed, but we will have it and we will play it so that we can understand the backstory of why the gentleman responded the way he did. He will be here with us next month. Okay. All right. So, guys, I thank you again. And okay. And don't forget to go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to Live Talk with Benita on YouTube, because I need to get my numbers up on YouTube. Okay. All right. And I will see you guys Tuesday. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Let me close out of this. And let me go here. All right. Good night, everybody.